Hey guys and gals, welcome to Dude, Check This Out, a podcast where we talk about music from the past and the present with artists of the future. My name is Rob, and on the computer over there is Mr. Mark Brown, and we are from the band Hambone Relay from Philadelphia. A quick footnote about this podcast is we like to talk about a lot of music, but there's no way we can talk about every single genre. There's too many, and in fact, today I listened to at least 5 or 6 genres, if we want to call them that, and there's no way I would be able to have enough time to talk about all of them. So we're going to dive into a couple things, especially with our guests, who we have different co-hosts, every different show. And today we have Solar Circuit. Well, 2 parts of Solar Circuit. We got Nick and Becca. How you guys doing today?
Howdy.
Hello. How's it going?
Yeah, they came in from the Yunk.
The Yunk. Yep, the Manny Yunk.
They were just telling me they came from right out. Where is it? West of the city? Did you say?
It's like right where Roxborough starts. So like right on Leverington, like Green Ave area. So it's like the farthest point west of the Yunk.
Do you like that area by Roxborough? Is it?
It's definitely.
It could
a
be
place.
better, but could be way worse.
What could be better? We go into detail on this podcast. We're not going to stop there.
It's just a busy street.
Yeah.
Not fun to live on a busy street. So.
We were in East Falls, which is like between Manayunk and the city. It's like it's closer to Philly, or like the center of Philly. And it's just, it compared to there, it's very similar, but it's like a little bit more crowded and busy. Yeah. So.
And you guys live together?
Yeah.
In the same house? Right on. Band house?
No. Taylor lives close by, and
Taylor's
Rob,
near.
actually, the drummer, Rob lives in Lansdale. So he's a little bit of a hike.
Is it hard to work with him being that far away? Or?
No, he's
really.
super flexible, and it's actually not too bad. It's like 35 on a good day, so it's not the worst.
It would have been better if you just fired him on the show. Right? Just
Actually, yes.
Like, hey, Rob, listen, dude.
That reminds me.
That reminds me. You're done. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. So
We're firing you because of Lansdale.
we'll keep that in mind for if we need to fire anyone. To
Hey,
do
we
it
need
That's the
on a
excuse.
podcast. Yeah.
We need ratings. So band fires drummer on podcast. It's okay for Hambone Relay. Every drummer has been fired after this one venue, except for me so far. So every time we get back to that
Have
venue,
you been there?
we've played there a few times.
Did you feel weird?
You're sweating.
The first time I did, because I was nervous. I was like, "Wait, is this the gig I get fired?"
This is the place.
Yeah, you're thinking about it. This is where all the drummers go to
I'm
die.
so glad you made it.
How many
past.
drummers have you gone through?
6.
Oh, Nick, that was a personal question. This
Hey,
podcast
man.
is about us.
I know it's off limits.
It's okay. We'll get to your old drummers.
We're getting really good at firing drummers in this band. So.
It's okay. After whatever comes out in the future, I might
funny.
be gone.
You know, Rob's been going strong. Rob's
Yeah.
been the drummer
So
from the
far.
get-go.
And
So far.
So far. Now we're doing this podcast thing.
Yeah.
I want to talk about you guys. That's why we're here. You guys had a very busy 2018.
Yes.
How many shows did you play?
I think it was about 30 shows, and it was across, I think, 9 or 10 different states within the Northeast.
Were you going mostly East Coast?
Yeah, East Coast. We're kind of like weekend warriors right now because we've got the 9-to-5 thing that still needs to, make us money to eat food. So like that is still there. So we kind of do like long weekend runs, like a Thursday to a Sunday type of like a long tour. But so that's centralized to the Northeast for now.
Are you finding a lot of work on Thursday nights specifically? Being an out of town band coming into a different city, I know it's difficult from our perspective. We were just curious.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Sundays are even worse. I mean, at least from what I've found, Sundays, like, I'll only extend it to a Sunday if it's somewhere that like actually really has a built-in, type of structure going on. Thursdays, yeah, I mean,
They work.
Yeah, it's spotty because we were up, like Connecticut and some other places, places that are just like really big music communities. I feel like you can find a
Thursday's
good
no
spot.
problem.
Like where? Out of your...
Like Connecticut, we love. New Haven has like a really great music scene. PST is a great spot, and we were at Stella Blues too. And
We played there.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
like
it's
fun.
fun.
It's a fun town that like they definitely love their music. Westchester loves their music. They've got a great built-in crowd, especially being in a
Sprout a
college
lot.
town. Yeah, Westchester. I grew up in like Coatesville, which is about 20 minutes west of Westchester. And so like a lot of my friends are kind of still based in that little area. So when we were when we were first starting to play out live, Westchester was kind of like the first spot that we were like, hey, they have a good music scene. We should tack that on to our list, not just Philly. Let's branch out to 30 miles down the road.
The big hike down the road.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's nobody from Philly will go to Westchester.
Exactly.
Right. You got to pretty much count on the Westchester
It is a
crowd.
different market.
It is.
Right.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
totally is.
You took the words right out of my mouth. But did you get classical training as a child there in Coatesville, or?
So I took lessons like when I was like 4 to like 11 or 12 maybe, and then at that point and it was classical based, and then at that point I was like super in a rush to grow up, and I was like, I want to play every instrument now. So I like asked for a guitar. I saved up my money and I got a guitar, and then I saved my money and I got a drum set. I saved up my money, I got a bass, like over many years.
Sure, your parents love that.
Yeah, they loved the drum set.
I'm sure they can call my parents. They can have a conversation about it. Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
So you learned to play every instrument. Did you learn every instrument from like a teacher, or were you kind of doing
piano?
Doing it yourself?
Yeah, piano was the only one that I had lessons. I had a couple like vocal lessons when I was like in middle school, I think, but that wasn't very long. But yeah, everything else, it's just me being restless, and I wanted to just try everything.
Okay. Did it come from a place of you wanted to be able to play any instrument, or did it come from you got bored easy?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think that I've always really loved music, and I just always I have a very eclectic taste of just music that I am influenced by, but I don't know. I think probably both, honestly, because I love music and I wanted to just keep diving into it and like expanding. And I also am I can go through peaks I've heard from people where I'm just restless. So I really like to just start new things and try new things out.
Oh, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I definitely go in and out of that personally with, I also am a singer-songwriter. So like I go into Ham Bone Relay and like we're touring, we're doing the whole thing. And then I'll go and record some of my songs with the band, and you kind of flip-flop. Did you find the same thing for you, Nick, as well when you were a kid?
No, so actually I was pretty much all self-taught. Like
really
100% up until about a year ago. Then I just started taking like some one-off lessons just to sort of hone in certain things that I thought I was weaker at. But beyond that, it was like guitar from day one, and that was kind of figuring out my bedroom.
You figured out in the bedroom. Yeah. Did anybody else in your family play?
So my dad played casually, and actually he's the one that got me into it. So way back when, they'd be playing like CCR in the basement and some Clapton, things like that. So that got me really into it. He showed me like a G chord and all that kind of stuff. So
what about
way
an F
back
chord,
when
though?
he couldn't do the F. He couldn't play the F chord.
That's an F chord.
No, but then progressed and more fun. So then I met this crew in college.
CCR is fun. Hold on, don't be rushing.
Hey, nothing
Let's
against CCR. No, nothing against CCR.
No, well, hold on. So you know what I find though is that when anybody that plays guitar first usually has guitar in the family, or they're surrounded by guitar players. I call it like a campfire mentality. If one of them plays, everyone's got to play.
You're probably not wrong.
I mean, because think about all the guitar players that are like your friends. Like either their dad plays, or their uncle plays, or their brother. Somebody else in the family. Totally.
Yeah.
So you learned in your basement, and you went back to your room like, I want to play with my dad. Was that kind of
the
thing?
Definitely. And they'd start out, they'd play whatever song they were playing, but like a quarter speed, just so I could figure out how to do the chord and everything. And then pretty quickly got back up to full speed.
And then eventually they got so drunk where they just stayed at those tempos.
Yeah, like quarter speed's nice.
You're like, Dad, can we speed up? You're like, no, this is it.
This is the spot.
CCR at 50 beats per minute. This is the tempo.
Yeah, and then from guitar, you went through the whole like bass kick for a little while, because who doesn't love rattling the whole house?
Oh, I know I do.
Yeah.
My girlfriend hates it.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. Now, Becca, did anybody in your family play as well?
No. Both my sisters also took piano lessons like as kids as well, because I think my mom always wished that she played, and so she kind of like when we were really young introduced us to it, you know, to
She
see
lived
if,
through you. Yeah.
exactly.
I'm just kidding.
And no, totally what it is. But I'm glad she did, because you know it's always good to have that. But yeah, neither one of my parents are really super like musical themselves, and even like music in general, like throughout the house, like not a super music family. I was kind of the black sheep in
Broke
many.
the mold there.
Yeah, I'm kind of the black sheep in a couple aspects.
Were you on your own in terms of musical style as well as a kid?
Yeah.
Like were you listening to
Yes.
records in your room and it was a pretty quiet house otherwise? Like, what were you listening to?
Yeah, definitely. I really liked like classics like Pink Floyd and the Beatles and Fleetwood and.
Were
like,
you getting high in your bedroom?
I was not. I did have
Come on,
incense.
your mom's not going to listen to this. Come on.
I did
You were
have-
listening to Floyd.
She might. Yeah, hi, mom. No, but she.
Hey, Mom.
They hated the incense. They hated the smell because it gave them a headache, apparently. But yeah, I did like the classic, you know, stoner rock classics. But like Pink Floyd, I'm sorry, they are not only to get high to, they are OGs of the synthesizers. Come on,
Mark
he knows.
True story.
True story. He knows. So.
There is pointing at Mark Brown, who is don't pester him or push him towards any more keyboards. We've had enough on the road. We already have an organ. We have a synthesizer on the way.
They already hate me.
And
They hate me so much.
If you come see Hambone live, you will see us a pedal board. I don't even know what to call it. It looks like a spaceship.
I want to look like I want to have like a spaceship. Like
It's magic.
You know, 7 keyboard. Keith Emerson.
You're at that point as well, Becca. You have like a little spaceship situation going on right now.
Yep.
I've seen
I
some
totally
photos.
feel the spaceship vibes. Yes. I've got the double stack and then the Moog on the side. So the goal is to be in a full square.
You're
eventually.
currently building up the pedals.
When
too,
they
on
give me
floor,
the
right?
trailer space.
Yeah, right.
There'll be more.
How big is your trailer?
So
Currently non-existent.
What happened to your trailer?
Well, we just don't have one. We rent one when we need it, but we got
rent,
a truck.
Yeah, we rent a U-Haul when we need like the full shebang. But because Taylor, our bassist and vocalist, he has a Nissan that actually gets
Pickup
like
truck.
pretty good mileage. Because when like we were thinking about like our next path, you know, we were thinking about what's reliable and what's gonna give us the most space. So it's a truck with, you know, a truck bed, and we fit everything in there. We have a snail top, and we can fit, you know, there's 5 seats.
Is the snail top the bubble?
Snug.
Yeah,
The
bubble thing up
Okay,
there.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that's what it was called.
Yep, apparently that's what it is. So we can fit everything in there if we don't need a full drum back line or our lights. And those times are increasingly more rare. So we've had to rent a U-Haul trailer to put on the hitch.
Okay. Real quick, I forget if we talked about this already. Do you guys have siblings? You did.
I have
You-
two
you have two
sisters.
sisters?
Yeah, I'm in
Okay.
the middle. I have a younger and older sister.
Okay.
And
I have a younger sister. She's 3 years younger than me. Lives
Okay.
down in North Carolina.
Oh, she got a family situation down there?
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough. But do any of them play at all, really?
Nope.
both my sisters took lessons growing up, but neither one of them do anymore.
Okay, so you guys are, like you said, the black sheep in your
Yep.
families. And
Carrying
well, your
on the
dad plays.
music.
Well, your
Yeah,
dad
he plays. He dabbles a little bit.
Okay. So, well, real quick, Nick, when you were growing up, you learned from your dad, etc. You were, did you play at all in school, or were you at all like
No.
make a band in high school or
Surprisingly,
middle school?
no. I was like super shy when it came to it in school. Like I just was like perfectly content in my room, learning everything by myself. And
Wait, let's not graze over the band that you were in with your dad.
You were in a band with your dad?
Come on. Act like I don't
band
know that.
is a little loose of a term. It
You
was
band
like
of brothers is 2 or more, baby.
it was like me and my dad and a couple of his friends would get together in the basement once a week and play CCR.
That's
right?
what's called a rehearsal, Nick.
I guess
You
the
played
first
a-
band, but you specifically asked about like school and friends from school. So from that aspect, no.
Oh, so we're going from
Technicalities.
technicality, but
I'm
we're
going
back.
for the technicalities. But okay,
What was
yeah.
your dad and your band called?
We didn't really have a name. It wasn't even to that level. It was more just like, hey, let's get together and and play some songs. So it was
I just
super
had
laid
to
back.
pull it out. I had to pull it out.
You had to call him out.
Had to call me
in
out
front
on
of
it.
everybody.
He was about to
That's
not
all
bring
right.
it up. I was
That's
like,
all right.
He was about to not bring
That's all right. Nothing's off limits.
I had to pull it out. But okay, so Nick, you grew up in Mountain Township, was it?
Mountaintop.
PA. I spelled it wrong on my notes. That's my fault. That's cool. And how far is that from Philly?
About 2 hours.
Okay. So you went to Temple after high
Yep.
school.
Went to
What'd you
Temple.
go to school for?
I went to school for computer science.
Okay.
So that's what I do during the day. I'm a software developer.
Oh, no way.
Yep.
I think I read that somewhere. Where do you do software development?
I do it at QVC.
Oh, right on. My
Yeah.
we have a couple friends that work over there.
Oh, yeah, where?
Yeah, at QVC. My buddy Keith is one of the directors or producers of the show,
Okay.
and Chip, who used to do a bunch of video for me, and he did a couple of videos for Handbone Relay. He works over at QVC.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, right on. So, at what point do you meet everybody in the band, like Becca and everybody?
College. So, well, Becca in college.
Where to get to you at Temple and your whole shebang?
So Becca in college, and then through some like mutual friends, we started just sort of jamming, having fun. We met Rob through our former bassist, like way back.
Oh, is there another
Yeah.
bass player?
There was
He's a
an
former.
original former bass player, so he introduced us to the drummer.
Okay.
And then when he left, we ended up actually going on Craigslist and finding Taylor on Craigslist, our current bassist. It was one of those like
Rare finds.
rare
he
finds that just
told
like
me he was
happened
gonna
to work.
look, and I was like,
Yeah, she's like, oh, that's stupid.
"Are
Don't
you
do
sure?"
that.
We've done the Craigslist thing.
Yeah.
We were also very unsure about it. That's
You never
where,
know.
Like worst
you never
case,
know.
like
Well-
you
well,
jam
hold
with
on.
some dude for one time and it doesn't work out, right?
Well, you know what's funny is that Mark was founded by a drummer. A drummer had founded this band, Handbone Relay. And Mark, do you want to tell the story?
Well, it was kind of like a Craigslist deal. He was like, he was.
That
like,
wasn't the site. What was it?
It was Band Mix. You guys ever been on Band Mix?
I've heard of
No.
it.
It's terrible. It's like the Craigslist for musicians, right? And so he founded the band, and long story short, he wasn't. We fired him. Because, so
Sometimes creative differed Yeah,
Well, it happens.
right? Yeah.
yeah, but it was weird because we actually when we moved on from him, we tried Craigslist and we tried out a bunch of different drummers, and there's some weird people on Craigslist.
Oh, yeah.
I believe
We
I
got
believe that.
super lucky.
We did.
So when you were looking for Taylor, how many people did you try out before you found?
He was the
Oh, he
only
was the one. We found him right
He
away.
was,
Really?
He was the one. Yeah.
Don't give him a bigger head than he's already got. He's
Oh,
already-
yeah, right?
For those who don't know, Taylor is the bassist and singer for, bassist and one of the singers
Yeah.
for Solar Circuit. Here, we're going to get back to all that, to how everybody found each other. Becca.
Yes.
So when I was doing my research, and I found, I was researching where everybody went to school. Your bio had said you went to Temple in Italy. And I want, what is that? Was it just like a program for you to go overseas, or what was it?
Yeah, Temple actually has a campus in Rome and Tokyo and London, I think, and somewhere else. They have like their study abroad programs are like very facilitative. So it was like you can still take Temple courses and everything in those, international places. So I studied abroad in my junior year. I think, the fall of my junior year. So
Okay, so you weren't there primary,
No, it was
in
6
Rome.
months.
Okay, that's pretty cool. What were you studying at Temple?
I studied psychology and cognitive neuroscience.
Look at you.
So, yeah. I've always liked science and the brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does that kind of circle back to how like the band sounds and the sciencey kind of
Probably.
synthy vibe?
Synth workstation over there, and you're going to tell me it's not science related?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. Sure. Yeah.
That seems to be just an answer just to get off the topic, but we'll move on. It's fine. Cool. So you come back from Italy, and you finish up at Temple,
Yep.
and then you find a gig in Philly. Like, what are you doing at the time when you?
So right out of school, I started working at UPenn in research. So I was a research coordinator, like clinical trial for hepatitis C, for a physician. So he was doing trials to basically,
way.
help cure hepatitis C. So I worked there for 2 years, maybe 2.5.
That's a gig.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I learned a lot. It was a really good. I was really happy to find a good entry level job. I really like research and science. I knew nothing about livers, and it was in hepatology. I'm like, my schooling was in neuroscience, so
Right.
it was a little different. But so I know a lot of random things about the liver. But
Well, give us something. Give us a random thing about the liver,
time.
because I'm not drinking and Mark is, so I want anything I can rub into Mark right now.
There
No,
you
I'm just
go.
kidding.
No, I'm sure there are.
I'm sure I know something. Yeah.
I'm sure. But then, a friend who I worked with at Penn moved to a research job at Merck Pharmaceuticals in like Lansdale area. So she moved over there, and then she eventually kind of pulled me over. So that's where I work now.
Oh, you work out in Lansdale.
I work, yeah. It's called North Wales, so it's basically like,
Oh, I know.
yeah,
North Wales.
it's that general area. So.
I used to teach out in Ambler.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
I know the area pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, back to where we all met.
Right.
So who meets who first? Like, this is at Temple. You two met each other first?
Yeah, we
met.
met each other at Temple. He lived like
How old were
just
you?
I was a sophomore. So what
I
are
was
you,
a junior.
19? 19
Yeah.
and 20. Yeah.
Okay, so you both were you both playing music at the time? Like in like the Temple circles or whatever?
Just
I
with
wasn't.
random friends occasionally.
Yeah, I actually didn't
too much,
play really at all in college until like we met really. But before then, I kind of had like dropped off of playing, and like I also danced growing up, so like
No way.
that kind of took precedent like once I was older. So I was dancing, and then I went to college, and then I just was doing young adult stupid things, and music was always a big thing in my life. Like I constantly go see live shows. I love watching live performances and watching musicians play. And
You go to a lot of festivals?
yeah, I always like going to festivals. When I was like really young in college was when like dubstep was becoming like really popular before it became like 13-year-old popular, which it is now. But so that took my life over for a little bit. I will admit that for sure. I was in.
Who were you listening to?
Like when Skrillex was like new. That's like I have shame inside to say it, but like it's fine.
That's your guilty pleasure. then?
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Like,
it's not even a pleasure.
I listen to some of the things that like we would listen to when we were like 18 and 19, and like it's just so intense. It's like, I mean, I always loved, like I said, the classics, Pink Floyd, like all of that was always there. And like also other stuff. I have a lot of just like random eclectic tastes, but the EDM phase took me over hard, and I did fall into that trap.
It's not a trap. If you
It's not a
enjoy it.
trap. I mean, some of it, I clearly love electronic music in general. I like pulling influence into it, especially in like a live setting. So I pull influence from like anything, because music is music.
So when did the synth become important to you? Well, the synthesizers become important to when you created music. Was it kind of when this band started, or was it?
Well, I had a friend, I don't even remember who, but I had a friend who showed me Ableton Live when I was like 18, or like really early on in college, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like you can like create so much. You can just, Ableton is just like a box of endless magic and things that you can do with it. So that was kind of like the first time I dove back into music in general, and so that's obviously a lot of synths and stuff.
How old are you at this point?
Like 18, 19. Because
Okay.
I remember someone gave me like a cracked copy like the summer before going to college.
As we all do.
Everyone had
Yeah.
the crack copy.
Everyone has the crack
Everyone had
copy.
the cracked copy.
Everyone
I
had
have
it.
the real one now. But yes, the
She has the real one now.
I paid my due diligence.
But you know what's funny is whenever you broke it, you had to go either re-update or find another one,
Yeah.
and it was always a
It's
pain.
just it's a pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a real thing. People who don't play musical instruments or things like that, is you have to find these cheats because you can't afford Pro Tools or Ableton and things like that. You got to find a way to learn the program without having to buy the program,
Right.
which is a problem. And unfortunately, it's kind of causing tension between musicians and providers. But anyway, so you're learning about the synthesizers through a friend and Ableton.
Yeah.
So you weren't playing with anybody at the time. So you're just sitting in your room, like messing around with sounds at the time, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, just really like messing around with Ableton and what it can do, and just like producing songs more. I mean, this was like really early on, so like I've got tons of things that is just like trash, but it's like stepping stones.
We all do.
You learn from every little thing, but. Yeah, so really it kind of, that was, I guess, really how I got back into music. Other than, like, I always played, like, piano in general. Like, anytime I was near a piano, I'd, start playing.
Are you going to start admitting that you were trying to create the next Skrillex EDM hit? When does that happen? Is that at 2021? I emailed Skrillex and
we got a collab coming up. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No.
A friend of ours, we just had Jaton, the band Jaton, on the podcast, and their old drummer is actually signed to Skrillex's label.
Oh, really?
Odd Kid Out. That's the drummer's name. He's really good. Funny that you mentioned Skrillex. Okay, so you're learning about synthesizers, and this is about the time where you guys start playing together. Is this like a...
Yeah, like I was dabbling in it, and then like we were friends, and we would just kind of really loosely jam with some other friends, like our original bassist and
what is his name?
Fabian.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was there when we were like first, just kind of really for fun playing. Like there were no intentions of really playing live or anything like that at that point.
What was your relationship to Fabian? Was he just a friend?
He was a buddy of mine that.
Through your roommate, right? Through Jimmy?
Oh, right, yeah, through my roommate at the time. He was a friend of him, and then he was just over at the house all the time, and he had a guitar with him all the time, so... Yeah. One thing...
guitar or a bass?
Because you were playing guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you were playing guitar at that point. I remember
I was always
like,
kind of playing.
Just kind of hanging out.
But again, the same kind of thing. Nothing super serious. No real intentions to just having fun.
Mm-hmm. You're just burning incense and jamming.
Yes.
And there's no seriousness about it. You're just playing, having fun.
Just having fun.
Like we shortly started like trying to create songs, right? And like I was kind of creating stuff on Ableton and just like having fun with learning Ableton and kind of like writing simple songs. And so it just kind of grew from that.
From like the point that we first started jamming for fun to when we were just like, oh shit, let's write a couple songs and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys were like learning the art form of songwriting all together, really? Like, or were you bringing ideas?
It was kind of. I feel like it was. We would play in our basement, which was through headphones because we had neighbors in our house at this point that were like 90-year-old sisters that like just hated us. Hated us. Like one time I was literally vacuuming my house at 2 p.m. and they called the police. Like
being too noisy.
At one point our house was the most called police like noise complaint calls to our zip code, like to our police department. He told me that. I was like, we live in a Philadelphia zip code and you're telling me my home is your currently number one like hot spot.
Were the cops like, was it like a laughable matter? Like, did they understand?
At a point,
times, yeah. I mean, they would come, they would sit outside the house for 15 minutes without us knowing, and then ring the doorbell and be like, hey, like they called, but like I can't hear anything. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, because it was a townhouse. I mean, and like there was not much insulation, so any noise we made, they would hear, and like, they were just like kind of miserable people.
And you try your best to be respectful, but at some point you got to give us like okay.
We played through headphones. We didn't even have any amps.
Were you all electronic then, or like did
we like had to be because it was such an issue with them? We were like, all right, let's figure out how we can play through headphones so we don't have any noise. Rob brought his electronic Roland kit, so he didn't even have a live kit. They would complain about hearing the pads, though.
Yeah, that was my question.
Just the thump.
The tapping?
Tapping.
Yes.
Oh, that's what did it.
Pardon my French. Fuck those ladies.
That's
right? It was tapping.
It's tapping.
We did what we could. Everything.
I hear something in the walls, Jeanette.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not far off.
Yep.
That's not far off
I like
at all.
how your old lady name is Jeanette.
Jeanette.
Hey, Jeanette, I hear the rats.
Yeah.
They're coming. Or is it death? Fuck you, Jeanette. Jesus Christ. I would lose it. So what electronic drum kit was it, by the way?
Oh, it's a Roland.
Was it the rubber pads?
No, it wasn't even the nice one that he has. It was like
point.
even a step before that. It was I
don't remember.
Yeah, it was I think one step before that even. Yeah, his one now is really nice. But
is that the one with the mesh heads? That's the one I want.
Yeah.
It's like the white heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really nice. It has good bounce and doesn't hurt your hands. I'm not using them on the road. You can't convince me.
Not gonna happen.
But they're
Good.
really nice. So you guys are trying to practice. You have Fabian, and who's drumming?
Rob.
Rob's playing at the time?
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Well,
I told you he's been there.
I know, but my question is this: why is this other drummer on your EP then?
who?
Or is it just listed wrong?
Oh, you mean Mike percussion?
That's
Oh,
what it
yes.
is. Oh, so I misread your Bandcamp.
Yes.
So Mike's on percussion.
Yes,
He's another gentleman.
Yes, yeah. Mike joined. Mike joined what? I think it was like the end of 2016. So he was there with like almost all of 2017.
Right.
He was percussion and he played some keys and
And
synths and
keyboard.
stuff too.
Like percussion effects.
And he also
that kinda
mixed
thing.
your first EP when you guys
Yes,
finally.
yeah, he mixed
Yep.
and mastered, or not mastered because we sent it
Yeah, we
out to
sent that
Mark,
off.
but he mixed the first EP. Yeah.
Yeah, we just sent something out to Mark, so we're
Oh, really?
excited. Yeah, we
Nice,
we
he's
really like
great.
Mark Truella.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Mark Torello.
Did a great job.
He's a great guy, and he just recently moved, which was a shame. But
Mm-hmm.
what was I going to say was, okay, so you guys are playing in the basement. Rob is in the band. Sorry, Rob.
Correct.
How long does it take for the first 4 songs to kind of take fruition? The first 4 songs of the EP of Solar Circuit, like,
Yeah.
how long does that take?
Well, it's funny. We had
Like, haha, funny, or
sure.
funny like a clown?
It's like haha
Like
funny.
a light chuckle.
Like not really funny. That's probably not the right word. You're right. But it's interesting. Our first EP technically was one called what was it called? Glance. Yes, and that was with Fabian. And that was really early on when we were still just like starting out. And I don't even know if it's.
you may
I
not
don't
even
think
It's
have
not.
it out
I
there.
it's
couldn't
not out
find
there.
it.
I mean, like there are some like cool stuff on it, but it's very new. It's Taylor isn't with us yet, and we actually even had another bassist before Taylor, so there was like a little bit of a pathway. We grew a lot, and like especially with just my knowledge of Ableton as well. So like that was our technically first EP. We had 4 songs on there. Actually, no. Russian Nights is on Glance, technically. That's the only one off of that one that we do still play live. Because that one was written by Rob, the drummer, and it's a good one. So that one made the cut. It's
There
still
you go, Rob.
still alive. Yeah, Rob. But yeah, so Levitate, which is the EP that's out there that Mike
Yes.
that you probably
Right.
saw. That one so Taylor joined us. We found him.
Well, hold on. So wait, what's the? We skipped over Fabian leaving. Why did Fabian leave, or did he get booted?
He didn't really get booted. It was just I think he didn't want to do it.
It was a week before our first live show because we had those 4
Oh,
songs
right, it
on
was.
Glance, and we were like, okay, we reached out to Boxcar Brew Pub, which is in Westchester, and at the time they were doing music. I don't think they are anymore.
No, they closed down.
No,
Yeah.
they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Alex Lamont, am I saying his name right? He who worked at Sprout, who I don't think he's at Sprout anymore right now, but he was with Sprout for a while, handling like the bar and their booking and management and stuff. So anyway, he used to work at Boxcar. That was our first show, and it was like, I think it was like February of 2016. That was our first show, like live as us. And a week before Fabian bailed out, I think he just like it got a little too real, and he just like he wasn't super into.
He was like a committed kind of guy.
It went from just like playing at the house to like, oh, okay, now we got to go like play in front of people.
Yeah,
He wasn't about that.
And
I don't think he was
was
about
about that,
Yeah.
or just didn't have the interest or the desire or whatever it was.
Right.
And he just decided he didn't want to.
right.
And then that's where the Craigslist thing came in now.
Yeah. So then we found
Because-
Taylor.
Yeah, so it's like a week before the show, and we're like, all right, well, what do we do? So on like the off chance.
You call him in. Well, hold on. Let's set it up.
What?
So you call him in a week before. Be like, we hate to do this to you.
Yes.
But there's a show in a week. Can you learn these? Is he pretty? So
Yeah.
what does Taylor say? Is he pretty confident? He's like, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Or-
So we
Yeah.
like. I mean, I guess it must have been like it
We
was
had
like
jammed a couple times.
yeah. We jammed. Basically, he put a thing out there saying like, here's our stuff that we have. Here's the music that we like generally, and like we're looking for a bassist. And like he was the first person to come back, and I think a couple other people did after him, but like we were still, we had met him. He was a cool guy. He actually. Is that weird to say?
No.
He asked us, like, I remember when we were emailing back and forth, like, one of the things he said was, hey, not to be weird, but are any of the people in the band like addicted to drugs or anything, or do any hard drugs? Because like I just can't. I can't do that. Like I need to
just straight up from day one. Didn't want that in
to us
in the
was
band.
like, bingo, that's a great
Thank
sign.
Yes.
That's a great sign. He's not a shithead.
Although you found a unicorn, a bass player that doesn't do drugs.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
do you think we don't play with bass players?
Yeah.
We just have Mark. You
Yeah.
found a unicorn, bro. Well, cool.
Exactly.
So you hear this and you're all excited.
Yeah.
And you bring
You're
him
like,
in
oh, that's
immediately.
great.
bring him in and we jam, and it's just like, oh,
Yeah, and it just really
This
meshed.
works.
Like he brought like an energy and just like he's a great bassist. He's a great musician. He's a great composer. He has a lot of songs that he produced and wrote himself like before us, which we've actually turned
Yeah.
into like a Solar Circuit version. So yeah, it worked. You know, he just kind of brought the last little puzzle piece that we needed between me, Nick, and Rob.
How cool is that?
it was awesome.
So he does the show. It goes over well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was great.
I mean, as good as any first show can
Right.
ever be.
First official, like we did like, you know, parties and little like,
Right,
you know,
right.
DIY type of things to really test the water first. But that was like our first time on a, you know, legit stage where we were going to be playing for strangers, and it worked.
So from that first gig, how much later, or how long did it take to create the EP or record the EP Levitate?
So I guess.
Because it
only
says December 30th, 2016 is when this came out. Is that the right
Right.
year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So Taylor joined at the beginning of 2016. We wrote those 4 songs and like learned some, you know, fun covers and some other songs that Taylor brought to the table as well. Like I said, from his own stuff. So we learned that, I guess, probably pretty quick, because like at that point we were like, this is super fun. We are jiving together. Let's continue to play live. So we
easy
had
when it
more
flows.
stuff. Yeah. And so we had more stuff on the docket, and so we were like, all right, we need more and more material. And we all had like our own stuff that we had been working on or like had already, you know, written. We just needed to kind of like bring them together and hash them out ourselves with the 4 of us. So
Becca,
yeah.
were you singing at the time when the 4 of you originally got together?
So when we, in the very, very beginning, like before Taylor joined, we had no vocals or anything, because at this time, like, we really, really loved Lotus and like that kind of vibe, and I still do, but like instrumental music is always kind of like preferred to me, just because sometimes vocals can be like a little cheesy or like make it too specific. I just really like raw music and like how it can evoke those feelings. So so we had no vocals at all, and then kind of slowly started to realize that like little hooks are good. People like them. You know, people want something where they can kind of sing along to, or like it's just I kind of like sold off vocals because I just loved Lotus so much, and like some other like just fully instrumental bands.
Speaking of which, are you going to see them at the end of the month when they're here in
Yes,
Philly?
this
Yep.
weekend.
Next weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that
it's this weekend.
Right,
It's
right.
Lotus, and who are they with?
Tweed.
Tweed.
That's right.
Who are awesome. They're great.
Yes.
Good friends, and they're really,
Yeah,
really
we'll be
great.
there early.
Good dudes.
Are you friends with those guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've played with them a couple times. They do their festival Sensorium,
Sensorium.
which you
Ah.
should definitely keep a lookout for, because I know it's coming back this year. But they did the first one in 2017, and we were on that one, and it was just awesome. It was at One Art Center,
Yep.
which I didn't know existed, but it was like a really cool, like kind of Rasta commune in Philly. And then last year they had it again, but it was at the Ukrainian
The Yuki Club.
The Yuki Club, and it was even better. It was like indoor and outdoor, and yeah. So
they stepped
the
it
Tweed
up.
boys know what they're doing.
Yes.
Like Joe, who does a lot of their management stuff, has got a lot of great ideas, and they're just really good dudes.
Are you guys allowed to say if you're on this year's festival?
No,
Wait, no, you're not on it, or no, you're not allowed to talk about it?
exactly.
Got it.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry, boys. All right, very cool. So, all right, so you're in love with Lotus, and you're starting to bring some vocals on. When does Taylor mention, oh, I also sing?
I mean, I guess like when we first met him, like he showed us. So he has a lot of stuff that he made as his solo project before us, like the years before us, called TR. And it was all produced and like recorded. He did all of the layers, all of the vocals, all of the, you know, guitar, bass, and because he's very multi-instrumental as well, and he's got a really good like ear for melodies and compositions. So he composed a lot of stuff. So he showed us a lot of that stuff. and it was all great stuff. So we kind of took it and put it into a way where all of us could play it live. And yeah, it was really interesting seeing like it morph into like a Solar Circuit version. So he actually has this album called The Sacred Flame, and it's a space rock opera. And yeah, one from the.
Is it on Spotify?
I don't know if it's on Spotify.
It's on Bandcamp.
It's on Bandcamp. It's on probably his SoundCloud, and he's got a Facebook. But the original one, The Sacred Flame, space rock opera. So it's got like I think like 8 or so tracks, and like we've learned I think so the Eye, Colors, Convicted,
Mount
Day and
Goddess.
Night. No,
Mount Goddess on that
like
one.
probably like 5 or so songs off of that in installation. So we've learned them and we've played them, and a couple of them are on the album, One Around the Sun, but in our version. And we have that footnoted in the thing that it's like a installation of the space rock opera. So eventually over time, all of the space rock opera will be released, and then, you know, so it's just a fun little thing.
No, that's pretty cool. I like that. So you guys are going from strictly instrumental. Now you're kind of diving into the more vocal, jammy type of things, right? And you're also developing your synth sound at the same time. Were you called Solar Circuit at the time? Is there like a direct influence? Like we're kind of like a sciencey, synthy sound, and you go to Solar Circuit, or what's the?
Yeah.
Where does Solar Circuit come from?
So
The name of the band.
we've always been Solar Circuit with like the 4 of us. So like
Right.
since Taylor joined, it's been Solar Circuit. Before Solar Circuit was defined, it was just the 2 of us
And
and
Fabian.
Fabian and Rob, I think, right? I don't know. But we were called Euclase, and it was
What were you called?
Euclase, EUCLASE, Euclase.
Okay.
It's a crystal that is like the crystal of creativity. But
But you didn't come up with that. That was obviously you, Nick.
Of course. Of course.
Okay.
he's very imaginative. No, but yeah, so that was like our side. That was like our thing at the
Yeah,
time.
that was back like before
Doing
Glance.
crystal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing crystal.
Back when we did crystal.
Euclase.
that's-
Only the
Euclase.
creativity crystal.
Only the creativity.
So when you found Taylor, no hard drugs, he didn't include crystals. So,
Right.
So
Right, that wasn't on the
you didn't
list.
tell him that was the name of the band at the time. So you didn't get the hint.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right on.
So.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. So you kind of go in that direction. I like it. You recently put out a cover that was pretty good. It was the Britney. Was it Britney?
Oh, the Spice Girls.
Spice
Girls.
Yes.
That went into a couple of your tunes. That's very good. It's a live video.
Yeah, we like to. We've got a long list of songs that like I never envisioned myself actually singing in front of a crowd of people that have happened. Like Donna Summer, Hot Stuff.
Hot Stuff.
That's a fun one.
That's fun.
Yep, Spice Girls. Yeah, there's a long list of funny covers. We like to sneak them in.
Real quick, I got away from my original question,
Okay,
which
yeah.
I do hear all the time. So where does Solar Circuit, the name, kind of come
right.
from?
Right. So
They don't know.
you know, I will preface it with no, it is not about solar energy. I'm sorry.
Oh.
We get that question a lot.
It's okay.
It's not about solar energy. However, I love solar energy. I'm totally about it. I think it's great.
Totally green.
Totally
green. But no, it's not about solar energy. But yeah, so we were Euclase, and then we actually collaborated with another friend of ours, Jason. So we collaborated with him, and they had a project separately as well with Rob. And so basically, we realized we had half of the same band, and we were like, let's just combine. So Jason was a part of the band.
Is he the bass
originally.
player in between?
No,
I'm
he
just
was-
trying to make sure I get the.
I know.
He was a second guitar player for a little while.
Now there's a second guitar player. I
He
think
was
I'm having
doing
a,
guitar,
Guitar
and
and
keys.
keys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm again.
Sorry, we should've-
I know, right?
Everybody. Okay, no, I
Yeah.
got it. Okay,
should've
so
brought a map.
You involved Jason, and
Yes.
then what happened?
So when we collaborated, because they were called Minor Alchemy, and we were called Euclase, and we were like, let's just combine. And so we combined, and when we did that, we were like, well, we probably need a new name instead of taking
Right.
one or the others. So we decided on Solar Circuit. There's not a very interesting backstory on it. I'll be honest. We liked the circuit because we are very collaborative, like in the way that we write and the way that we improvise. Like it there's no like leading front person. Like, we like it to be a collaborative process. Like, when we write songs, I mean, we have songs that have been like led or, you know, driven, the composition driven by, you know, either me or Taylor or whoever. But when we bring it together, we're very collaborative. So we liked the circuit theme because it kind of like puts that
Each
perspective.
piece working together kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. And then the
There's a lot of
solar
responding,
Yes.
electronic responding between the instruments.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right.
And solar just came from it sounded good.
Yeah,
There's
we
a
had
lot
a couple
space.
different options that popped in, but that one was just the one. We went through a bunch of things. And that one ended up being the winner.
Fair enough. I was once in a band. We were playing. Do you know Chris's Jazz Cafe in the city? It was I'll call it like a pop R&B band, and we just had like half the band quit, so we got 2 new guys, and we came up with a really bad name, and I cannot remember what it was. But we think it's a great name. We go on stage and they introduce us, and now introducing everyone on the stage went, oh, it feels terrible.
Oh, that's bad.
It was not like Evanescence, but it was like something in that vein. It was really bad. But
It's a big decision.
It is
glad
tough.
name is really important. Our name is based on a really bad joke, and now we have to explain what a ham bone relay is every time. On every podcast, it's always the last question.
And
What's a ham
it's
bone
a
relay?
terrible story too. It's
And we
not-
might as
it's
well
not
Let's
even-
hear it.
it's-
Well,
You
at
know,
least
Mark,
we have a story. We
This
didn't
is
really
the one
even have
time
one.
we're going to tell this story one time on this podcast and break the bottle of beer that we have over there. Go ahead, Mark. Tell us the story of ham bone
There's
relay.
okay. So remember that drummer we fired?
Yes.
The original drummer.
So
of the
he
band.
used to be a short order cook,
Okay.
and he had some inside joke. I don't even know the whole story. He had an inside joke about some passing the ham bone to the end of the line, doing a relay. I don't know. See, it's a terrible story, right?
Yeah, Mark already
I got
lost
nothing.
me.
I got nothing. But like, so he thought it was the funniest thing in the world, and he just like, guys, I got this great. And we were like, I don't know what to name this band, so we'll just call it Ham Bone Relay. Cool, great, whatever. We
And
figured.
then if we think of something better, we'll
it was,
use it.
yeah, it was like a placeholder, and then
Yeah.
it just stuck. We bought the website, so I guess we got.
At least 1
Well,
year.
no,
Well.
well, Jay bought the website, right? So
Right.
you were just like, I guess this is what this is now.
That's funny.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that's where Ham Bone Relay comes from. And yeah. But so you come out with the EP.
Yeah.
And you're working with Taylor and Rob and the percussionist. What was his name again?
Mike.
And everybody's in the band. Do you immediately go into doing the Weekend Warrior thing, or is it pretty slow paced? What happens?
Well, we were pretty much doing it throughout.
Yeah, we were trying
Like, we
to-
played pretty consistently. Like, at least like 2 weekends of the month was what we were pretty much hitting, and it was a lot. Like, with doing the EP and trying to get all that done while also playing is a lot. I mean, studio albums are a lot of work and money, as I'm sure you know. So
We're a little aware.
yeah, I'm sure you're very much aware. So, but yeah, we were playing out. We definitely play, like, every year we increase like how much we're able to tack on, but it's just a lot. That's why we actually kind of made the investment to get. We have a mixer that we go into now that records all of our soundboards, so we get multi-track recording of everything. And instead of needing to feel like we need to be in the studio in addition to playing and touring, we can keep having fresh professional releases with our live recordings, especially because we do a lot of improv, so every set's different.
Wait, so how are you doing this? Are you bringing like a computer on the road, just plugging it straight into the mixing board, or what are we doing?
So we have an X32,
Okay.
the producer one, so it's just a little smaller, but it records. There's a module that you can buy for the back that you just plug an SD card in there, and you press record, and it records multi-channel right to the SD card.
What's the model?
The model of the SD card?
No,
or
no,
of
the recorder
it's
itself.
called...
Behringer X32 producer.
That's the name of the mixer. The module, I think, is called X Live.
Okay.
X Live.
That's pretty
and it's
cool.
awesome. And we can simultaneously route it to a laptop also, so you can almost get some like redundant recordings just in case something, goes a little haywire.
Is that Behringer?
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes it cool.
Yep.
I saw you guys have like 10 live albums or whatever.
That's all from
that's
those.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
so
it's
cool.
great.
It was a good investment.
Yeah, we're doing more of that. We released a live album a couple months ago. We're about maybe release another one in the future. But if you can just do it on the road and kind of pick and choose your shows.
But we lug all of this shit to like the gig.
Yeah, it's tough when you got all the different pieces.
Right. It'd be cool to do that with the X.
I mean, ours comes with challenges too. I mean, you've got to run some XLR splitters so you can keep the front of the house guy happy, and then you gotta have to double mic the drums sometimes. So it's got its challenges, but overall, I mean, it's.
But you're not paying for a studio.
We're
and
not
you have
paying
an
for a
audience that
studio,
doesn't know.
right? Exactly.
And we don't feel like we have to be in the studio like cranking out studio albums.
Now it's not a true studio album like One Around the Sun would be. It's meticulously gone through. But yeah, I mean they're pretty good recordings.
Plus, we're not really a studio album,
right? And it captures that live live feeling. So
we've run into that problem. But when you guys were after you recorded the EP and you're doing the twice a month weekends type of thing, you're recording a new album at the same time.
Yeah. So so 2016 was basically the year of Levitate, that first EP.
Levitate's the name of the EP.
Right. The first one, we wanted to get because we were playing out and we needed something concrete to be out there for people to hear and, other than just at the time, just GoPro
because we didn't have the mixer then.
Right. So we did Levitate with the 4 songs that we were like, okay, these are good. These are locked in. We play them. Let's get a studio version down. And even then, they evolve over time constantly. But
right.
So then 2017 happened, and we were like, well, Levitate, which we did pretty DIY. I mean, we recorded.
For those that don't know, DIY means do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. We tried to, because low budget. We tried to do as much as we could. And we also had skill sets internally that we could utilize. At this point, I was pretty savvy in Ableton and being, able to have those type of recording and just general Ableton understanding, right? So we recorded everything, including the drums, which is the most challenging thing because, you want it to really sound good and mic placement and all that. So we did research and recorded our drums ourselves. Mike, who also had done, he had knowledge and some training with mixing and mastering and stuff. So we did it all internally. And other than
mastering,
which went to Mark Truella, and it worked well. We definitely addressed some areas that in the future, once we had more money saved up, we would put a little bit more spending into, aka the drums, really, because they just.
You need the good drums.
They need to be, and it's tough. It's not as easy as plugging into a couple of your, what are those things that Mike had? The boxes.
Oh, like a DI box stuff. Or compressor.
Yeah, he had a rack basically that was
some outboard gear that
was good.
Really
it contributed to being able to do it ourselves without going to a full blown studio, which we did for One Around the Sun. So yeah, we learned some lessons. In 2017, we went to Pat, a friend of ours who does Evergreen Audio. He had a studio at his place, and Turtle Studios, which is also in Philly. I don't know if you've heard of it.
We know Turtle Studios pretty well.
So we did some piano tracking there. I also did some Wurlitzer that they had. That was fun. And then they mastered a couple of the tracks. So the One Around the Sun we were working on from basically the beginning of 2017, and then it released in August. Ironically, on the same exact day as the solar eclipse. You remember the intense solar eclipse in 2017?
Yeah.
That one. So it just ironically happened to mesh that album was ready to be released on that day. And it was just weird serendipity that One Around the Sun was ready on the solar eclipse day.
It was a destiny.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so then you put out the album. Mm-hmm. And then now how soon after that did you guys get the outboard gear to record your shows? Because you put out 10 live albums out in a year.
So we got the mixer I think in November of 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the original purpose of running in-ears. Yeah. So we didn't talk about that, but that runs our in-ears.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you guys play with in-ears?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you enjoy it or?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It prevents me from well, not only can you hear everything better, but it doesn't hurt when I leave. You know, no ringing.
I've been talking about doing that for a long time myself, just because
Yeah.
on our shows with some of the rooms that we play with the organ, the bass, especially you lose some of the bass organ.
Right.
Mark doesn't like it. Cue Mark.
I hate in-ear monitors.
I can understand why.
And I was in a band that toured for a while, and we used them, and I everything just sounds so dry, and there's no like.
Yeah.
Do you guys do like an audience mic or anything or? Like,
We don't, but I would like to at
should.
some point. So I don't know. We also don't have molded in-ears, so you can still get
Sure.
a decent amount of ambient noise coming in there. So you're not completely isolated.
right.
But if we ever jump to wanting to do molded,
Yeah.
you know, to
So
really
you
cut that out, you
need-
might need some type of ambient mic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
out
because
there.
I always play with one in, one out.
That's what I
It
do.
happens
yeah.
a lot
Yeah,
still.
because-
And a popping one out.
Yeah, I can't. It's
Yeah.
just everything. It just sounds it's too dry.
Yeah.
You know, there's no ambience to the room you're in or the
Right.
audience or anything. You know what
To
I
give
mean?
your ears some rest, do you often go back and forth, like putting one in, taking one out, just to make sure that one ear doesn't get too fatigued in the other? I would worry about that. I'd be OCD about
Good
it.
question.
Got to even it up.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. Like, you're just
Balance.
like, why am I not getting anything out of
So,
this ear?
so it doesn't really bother me as much what you were saying. So I can keep them in for most of the show. If I do have to take one out, though, it's going to be whatever side the drummer's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Douche.
You guys are loud.
Hey, it is what
you
it
guys
is.
are really loud. You should.
Y'all are loud. Bring it down a
Yeah,
little.
dude.
should.
Bring it
Yeah,
down. See, he agrees.
Yeah, dude.
We also like.
You
we,
played the organ, Mark.
Yeah, dude.
We
Yeah,
carried
dude.
that.
You're not quiet either. We're not quiet. Let's be real.
You need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
This is now an explicit podcast. Fuck you.
Come with a little special warning.
Yeah,
label.
that's it.
R-rated.
Everyone
R-rated.
does. Because I like to keep it real. I like to keep it real with
Keep
the
it
kids.
real.
No, it's fine. So you guys put out the live albums, and I really enjoyed them. I was checking them out the past week or so. Now, you guys put out a lot of video content.
Yes.
When you guys originally came up with the idea to record the video for your shows, was it for the content or was it for kind of like practicing your stuff? Because I know that originally when we do video, we like to see the show, how's the audience reacting, and etc. But if you did you just get good video naturally? Like, oh, we'll just put this out.
Well, it kind of came from a little bit of both.
Okay.
So, it first started out more as just like trying to document things, trying to see, you know, how we were interacting with each other, how the crowd was interacting. But it was really terrible audio. It was just GoPro audio.
Right. It's just you take
It's
what you
just
can get.
right. So, you know, eventually we got a second GoPro, and then we're able to sync it up with the soundboards. So we get much better content. So we can, I guess, like repurpose it from just learning to like, hey, now we actually have something cool that you know we can actually put out there.
Well, I like it. So you're taking the audio gear, you're sending it to your mixing. Who's mixing it again? Was it Mark or who's mixing the
Just
live
like the
stuff?
live.
Yeah, the live
stuff.
I do all of those.
Yeah, Becca
Oh,
does
okay.
those
Mix
at the
and
house.
master.
Nice. So Becca, you mix it all, and now are you putting the videos together too?
He does,
the-
actually.
I'll sync it up, and I'll for the most part handle all the video.
It's nice
creation.
that you divvy it up.
Yeah.
It's too much for one person.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. And like honestly, using internal like skill sets, like especially on a low budget when we're on the road, we're you know pinching pennies to do what we need to do to get our you know stuff out there and get
Right.
our passion and our music out there and to new markets. So yeah, so budgets are tight, and it helps to like he has knowledge on Adobe Premiere. I'm good with Adobe Photoshop, so like our event graphics I can put together, and then Ableton. So like we're able to use you know our skill sets without having to spend money on every little thing.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
We don't have that in our camp. Well, we try our best, but we do a lot of outsourcing, which is fine by us. Well, fine by me, because I just talk, and Mark does a lot of great sound work. In fact, we did our first legit full LP here in this room called Free Hugs, and we did everything pretty much DIY. Is there anything we didn't do DIY?
No, I think we mixed and mastered it in here too. Yeah.
Nice.
That's true.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's the Free Hugs album with the girl on the cover. It's somewhere on the walls over there behind Becca.
Oh, I see
Oh,
it.
there
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's the record. And then we recently went to a friend of ours, Derek, to do something else. So I had another question that we kind of talked about, but when you guys are writing songs together, is it typically just, are you writing together in your basement, or does somebody bring an idea, mix both?
Yeah,
It's a little bit of both.
definitely a both.
Definitely a little bit of both.
Is somebody usually has a lot of ideas they bring in?
So me and Taylor, for the most part, bring in our own stuff like that we'll work on, and like a lot of stuff that like me and Nick will work on, and like prep basically a skeleton. Like we'll get a project together of the different parts, and we'll write each individual instrument. We'll come to practice and say, okay, here's the document for this sheet where we lay out, like, here's the key, here are, whatever is critical for the other people to know. And then we'll just work through it, and it'll morph, and it'll, become what it is with everyone's input once we really hash it out.
Right.
But for the most part, we'll come in with either a song that Taylor wrote, or me and Nick, or there are also songs like a couple off of the album, like Bits of Time we wrote together, Porpoise. Chromatic. So there's some songs that we actually just were like in the studio together, and we're like,
Just kind of happened.
just kind of happened or came out, or someone had an idea for a riff and we all chimed in and built on it. So it's a mix of both.
Now, Becca, only you and Taylor sing in the band, right?
Yes.
So do you typically sing the stuff that you bring in, or do you guys have to kind of decide who sounds better on what?
I'd say the latter.
Yeah.
Is there
There's
often a
lot
debate?
It's not more of a debate, but I can, like, there have been times Taylor would bring a song and be like, oh, I wrote these vocals, like, Becca would sound great with these vocals.
Right.
And vice versa, or
Yeah.
like, you do some back and forth kind of thing. And sometimes, Becca will start it and we'll decide Taylor should sing it, or vice versa. Just
Do you try both ways usually just to see what sounds best?
Yeah, and like we're trying to like build more songs that have kind of like both, like utilizing both of us, like whether it's like a harmony or whether it's like a kind of like a call and receive type of thing where we both are kind of doing layers. So yeah, we try to fit them both in the way that feels right.
Right on. And one thing that you guys are definitely good at, especially with live, with the videos I've seen, is you're very good at transitions. Are you a planned transitions band, or are you very good at reading each other where you're going?
Yeah.
a little bit of both. I mean, we typically have like a destination that we know we want to get to, but don't necessarily know how we're going to get there until it happens.
Okay.
Right, like musically, but we'll have a layout of like, because our songs are pretty much our catalog in which the live shows we go between, right? We have a destination, meaning we have one song and we know we want to get to another song. How do we musically get there to make it a ride rather than just playing the song and stopping? Because no one... I
gets old
hate
quick.
when music stops. When people are there,
going.
you want music. So it's more fun for us musically to go from one song and morph, and then all of a sudden we're in the other song. So sometimes you have to coordinate some key changes just because, musically to make it sound right. So we'll coordinate anything like that. Like if we know that we need to switch to, a E Phrygian and then switch to here, we know if we need to switch to make it sound right, we'll plan that. But there are times where like we'll be in one jam and we can tell that the crowd is really into it. And so instead of doing what we planned, we have to throw something else in there because we can tell that this crowd really likes the jams. And, we feel like it's really, really actually much more amazing than I realized beforehand how much we feel the energy of the crowd.
Crazy.
Like, and I'm sure you know
You guys
exactly that.
understand
Like,
completely.
you can feel the energy that they have. Like, when they dig something, and it's just like a mutual thing. Like, we can feel when they're feeling it. It fuels us, and then it really makes a difference.
Yeah, it's good. You kind of follow the crowd for where they want the show to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Like fast or slower, you kind of feel where they want to go.
Right.
With us, we do a lot of some of them are planned, like our destinations, things like that. We have a couple tunes that are set to go right into one another. Sometimes we will do it, sometimes we won't. Usually either Luke or Mark will indicate by doing a melody of another song, and we have to be listening, or else we'll miss the cue. There were a couple times when I first joined the band, we tried doing that. It didn't quite work. So we're always listening. So like if we go from like one of our songs, one of our newer tunes called New Dog Old Tricks, we go from that song into a song called There Goes the Neighborhood. If I don't hear the cue of when we're going,
Right.
we're sunk. So, and that's happened a few times, but now we kind of have, like you said, a giant catalog. And if one of us notifies the others, like by playing a melody or a certain riff, we can easily get there. And what I was kind of curious about was, do you guys have that that pathway if you wanted to go to a different song than planned?
Mm-hmm.
Is it relatively easy for you to do so?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
definitely something that like we continue, like just every time we lock a little bit more in, just like over the years, getting better at like really hearing like what does Taylor do when he wants to, have the guitar take over on that type of thing.
Right.
And then, and I'll hear him teasing. I'll hear he does a lot of teases, the king of teases. So,
Hey.
So,
Hey, I
yeah.
sent a T-shirt
The king of teases.
and just have you with the guitar like that. I'm telling you.
Mouth always open, so that was
Always.
accurate.
It's
I
key.
saw the Facebook photos.
You gotta play that way.
I mean,
Makes it sound better.
he eats about triple the amount of spiders that the normal average human does because your mouth is so
hey man, does what it does.
You gotta get the protein from somewhere.
That's true.
All right, now we bring up the music news. For the past couple weeks since we've seen each other, I bring up the music news that I found. And the first article that we are going to talk about, unfortunately, is a legendary guitar player passed away at 82. His name was Reggie Young. Have you heard of him?
I'm not.
It's okay. You'll know his hits that he's played on. He played on monster hits such as Dusty Springfield's Son of a Preacher Man, Elvis Presley's Suspicious Minds, and Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline, among them. He even played the sitar introduction on Hooked on a Feeling by B.J. Thomas. He is a legend in the Memphis scene and eventually headed to Nashville in the 70s. And I didn't know if you guys have heard of him, but you know those tunes, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those hits. Let me see here. 97, Young was nominated for a Grammy in the category Best Country Instrumental Performance for his work on Scotty Moore's Going Back to Memphis. And he's B.J. Thomas, who was a former collaborator, called Young the greatest guitar player of them all. And it's just sad. Sorry to see him go. Reggie Young died dead at 82. Doesn't say how. Probably just passed away. Oh, heart failure. There it is. But you guys never heard of him?
No.
No, not the name.
Great guitar player.
Yeah.
Check him out. Next on the music news is, have you guys checked out the Fire Festival documentaries?
That's funny. We literally just watched one of them like 2 days, ago.
Real quick, for those that don't know, the Fire Festival, well, maybe you guys could tell better than I could because you've seen these.
You're up.
Well, it was a festival created by Ja Rule and what was his name? Billy McFarland, who I guess was like an entrepreneur. And they were just super, super unrealistic with every single piece. And there was no planning. Like so it was supposed to be a luxury festival where they had like influencers, which I had to explain to Nick what an influencer even is, because he's like, who are these people? What does that mean, influencer? Like just a person who's famous for zero reason, basically.
Like on social medias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just couldn't understand why.
Yeah. So they
This doesn't
basically
compute.
Brain not working.
Yeah. So they basically just got like everyone who's popular on social media to back this festival, and it was going to be like the biggest thing ever, but they did no planning. There was like no realistic aspect at all. Like they reached out to the sound people like 40 days out.
Yeah.
Like for the first
Like,
time.
oh yeah, you got to build this stage and run it.
40
And
days
you got a
before
month
this
and a half
festival.
to figure it all out.
And they had like huge names like Blink-182 and a bunch of other people that I didn't even actually really know, but like big names that were really popular. And like, and he was lying to their investors, apparently saying that like they were making X amount of money and like they didn't have it. Money kept coming out of nowhere because he was just getting it from his investors.
Spoiler alert, he's in jail.
Yeah.
He is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. It's
Oh,
like,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
You
said
should-
spoiler, man.
Did you should watch it.
I'm going to watch it regardless because
It's actually-
I love a good shit show.
Oh, it's
Oh, it is
such
a
a shit show.
shit
Like the
show.
whole time you're just like, how? Literally, how did this man not, like, it's bad. It's so bad.
It's
It's a shit show. People, they actually have like real footage of like the promo shoot where it was just all these models like laying around on the beach being like, ooh, Fire Fest. And like that was the promo for it. And they just kept reusing the same stuff, right? And it was really like the marketing was actually very intelligent.
Marketing
like,
worked clearly.
That,
It got people there.
The marketing was amazing. Like they really thought it through, but it was just like none of the logistics. Like they had people that were buying these like $1,500 or $15,000 even like cabanas. And like a week before, they didn't even have enough tents. They were like these like hurricane rescue tents that they like
they were
slapped together.
FEMA tents.
They didn't even have enough tents of those shitty tents to cover all the people. They didn't have any charter flights to send them home once they were there. They had no flights.
They had no end game in
people,
mind.
No, people were stuck and like they had footage. It was pitch black and it's just these like white hurricane like tents that it looked like it looked like just like a rescue center basically, and it was supposed to be this luxury like on the beach.
Well, the thing that's funny is that both Hulu and Netflix released the documentary.
I saw that
within a couple days of each other.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody knew. I think they just both released it. I think Hulu released theirs first. But which one did you guys see?
We just saw the
Netflix.
Yeah,
one,
Netflix.
Yeah. Okay, that's on my list. But it says that watch both because both kind of go in a different ways. But it says people who went to this festival spent like thousands of dollars on tickets, fly out, food, luxury, etc.
Yes.
Yeah, we were on a plane down to visit some friends in Miami, and there was this girl on the plane going to Fire Fest.
Yeah,
and she was like super excited, talking the entire plane ride about it, and I was kind of wondered how it turned out.
Yeah, well, then
like what her story was.
The next couple of days after that.
Yeah, because
we started hearing all the news about it being like terrible, and we were like, "Oh my god, that girl!" Like,
is definitely on that island, and she's definitely
crying.
I told the people on that.
It targeted all of the people that had thousands and thousands of dollars to just waste on like this luxury, like high profile, social media type of thing. It was just weird. Yeah, it was weird. Definitely recommend that you watch it.
Yeah, watch it. It was interesting.
It's very stressful and entertaining.
I couldn't even imagine. You can imagine being on an island. It's basically like you're stuck on an island for the K or what's the Tom Hanks movie?
Castaway.
Castaway Music Festival.
Yeah. Castaway Music Festival, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible. In other news, Third Man Mastering launches in Detroit, open to all public clients. You know what Third Man Records is?
No.
Jack White is the guitar player of oh my god, help me.
Dude, the White Stripes.
The White Stripes. I just had an aneurysm. We 3 aneurysms during this podcast. So Third Man Records is his record company.
Okay.
He makes like albums and vinyl down in Detroit. And Third Man Mastering just launched, open to all public clients is what the news is today. They provide mastering for all sorts of formats: vinyl, CD, digital, and even cassette releases, which seems to be the news.
I'll bet it's really expensive.
Jack White. Hell yeah. Some of the top array of indie artists working with them are The Dead Weather, The Rockatours, The Kills, Franz Ferdinand, Breeders, John Spencer, Lower Dens, Lone Lady, a bunch, Yak. What a great band name.
Did you say cassette?
Yeah, that's the new thing. A bunch of friends of ours are doing cassettes along with vinyl releases because CDs aren't selling enough, so they need something throwback enough.
Interesting.
Who owns a cassette player anymore?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, think about it. Before 5 or 6 years ago, who had a vinyl player?
That's true.
That's true too.
Yeah.
So I think
It's coming back. What's next, dude? 8 tracks?
Yeah,
They're
right.
coming
How
back?
far back do we need to go?
Right?
to sell, if it's selling.
78 RPM records of like 1920s flapper
Well,
girl jazz,
It's just interesting that people go backwards instead of like. I mean, I see why. Like, I have a vinyl collector. I love vinyl. Cassette seems like vinyl.
Oh, that's why I was curious. Cassette's like.
Cassette seems just like it was a little bump in the road, and then
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, vinyl, I see the classic. Like it sounds differently. It's a very textured. Like you have it in your hand. It's like a piece of art almost. Like instead of just the audio, it's a whole thing.
Right. It's big. You have the whole process.
And it's like more of an intentional thing where you put it on and you're there. Like you're not just gonna throw it on and walk away because in 20 minutes you're gonna hear the shit
you
start.
attend to it.
Yeah. So you like are intentionally listening, whereas like a cassette, it just seems like it's a technology. I don't know. But I know some bands are doing like USB type of things.
Yeah,
like,
I could see that.
Yeah.
You know, because people, you're right. Like CDs don't sell. Like we did. I almost said press, which is not the right word. What would that burn? I don't know.
We've made CDs.
We've made
them.
CDs, and like we do sell them, but it's definitely we definitely come across people that are like, oh, I don't even have a CD player. My computer doesn't have a CD jack anymore. You know, whatever it's called.
A CD jack.
Have you guys thought of doing vinyl at some point, or?
I would love to.
I would love to.
And we did get from Mark, he gave us a version of the material that
cool.
could be
From
pressed.
Mozzarella?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk after. Other news, Humphreys McGee shares new live album called Back at the Knack. Are you guys Humphreys fans?
Really? When was that?
Recent, a couple days ago.
I didn't know.
No, I didn't know about that either.
Yeah.
I do like
Yeah.
me some Humphreys.
Back at the Knack, let me see this article.
Oh, it's a live album?
Yes, a brand new live
cool.
album. It was a cult from the recent 4-night New Year's run at the Tabernacle in Atlanta.
Gotcha.
You guys ever see them live?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a
Humphreys?
handful of times. Yep.
Okay.
They're really good. Yeah, they're a little like heavier and like borderline dad rock sometimes for me. But they're really good. They're really great to watch because they're just so together and like they do some really great improv too.
Speaking of jamming, aren't they the ones that do the hand signals for jamming? Isn't that them?
Yeah, and did you hear about that? This like a couple of years ago, somebody leaked their hand signals.
Dude, they
had-
filmed like a video of them talking about it. I know what you're talking about on YouTube. But they're like going through all their, I take a step forward, or I don't remember what exactly they were, but
Yeah,
they went through all of them.
they had like all these like different take a step forward, or like if Brandon does this one thing with his hand, we're changing keys or whatever, like shit like that.
Yeah.
And somebody leaked it, so they had to like change it all. Like
Oh my god.
So the band I used to be with, we played a couple gigs with them, and one thing that was cool about them was they always travel with their own rehearsal space.
What?
They I told you this.
Oh, that's right. The truck or
They
whatever.
used to tour where they had a tractor trailer with a rehearsal space built into it. So
Wow.
that every night they would have like a new cover.
That's
bust out.
fucking
That they
awesome.
so instead of like hanging out and drinking, they're practicing
Yeah.
That's why
at
they're
a festival.
as
And that's
tight
why
as they
they're
are.
so awesome. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Wow. That's
Damn.
cool.
Incredible
That's impressive.
musicians. Yeah.
They are. They
That is
really are.
awesome.
Yeah, I haven't checked out too much Humphreys McGee. I want to look into that. Mark just we just went to a Lettuce show, and I was really
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're fun too.
Yes.
and Turkuaz, which really surprised
Oh, they're
me.
fun.
They were. This might be a terrible thing to say. I actually think I like Turkuaz better than I like Lettuce. To be 100%.
I agree.
honest.
I'm with you.
I'm fine with that. They're both great.
It was just a great show.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next segment of this podcast. We like to talk about music. Now we're going to whip it out. Your phones. We're going to whip out our cell phones and check out our Spotify list. We're going to check out the last 5 things that we've been listening to.
Okay.
And just to kind of break it up, I'll start, just in case anybody's embarrassed. The first thing that I checked out the other day was my birthday. So the song that my dad played for my mom when I was born, or right before I was born, was a song called Danny's Song by Loggins and Messina. The chorus is like, even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey. So I was
I know that
listening
song.
to that the other day. Second thing was Dave Matthews Band, Bartender, the song. I was curious about how many different ways they kind of play it. It's basically the same, most live shows. I still love it. Third thing was Fish. We had Brendan Johnson from the band Stella Ruse here the other day, and we were talking about Fish, and after the podcast, I mentioned that I didn't know too much Fish. The only albums I listened to, I hated. Are you guys Fish fans?
Which ones? She hates them.
Hold on, we'll talk. We'll talk. Real talk. I hate their improvising stuff. It gets really boring. But you're a Fish fan, so
I do like them.
He's a guitarist. That's
It's
why.
guitar
He loves
music, I'm
Trey.
told.
Oh my god, Chad.
Oh my God, Trey. If you want to listen to Trey solo the whole time, then
Then yeah,
That's
You
Fish
mean,
is the
you, mean
band
you don't
for
like a 45-minute you enjoy myself? Dude?
Right.
Come on, bro.
you don't like
Okay,
the
so look,
acapella.
20-minute vocal jam at the end.
Okay, so look. I checked out. This is my 5, guys. Brendan mentioned the album called Billy Breathes, and I was very impressed. I really enjoyed it, and it's very. I do like things that are organized, and I like the in tune vocals.
Yes.
Yes, I do. And that album is great.
Studio vocals.
Yeah, studio vocals. I like a
vocals.
good studio vocal. Fourth thing is I sometimes do cover gigs. I had to learn this one. You know that song "Brandy"? You're a fine girl by Looking Glass.
Yes, I'm sure you
What's
don't.
one of the greatest
I'm sure you
classic
don't.
cover songs? You don't know this song? I'm not gonna try singing it. And then just to keep it honest, the other thing I'm listening to right now is you guys like musicals at all?
I do. I appreciate it.
Okay, I sometimes play musicals like in pits and stuff, and I'm about to jump on to this show called Once Upon This Island.
Oh.
A high school in nearby Philly is playing it, and I have to learn all the drum parts. So I just got the book today, so I'm like playing through it and learning like all these Caribbean kind of grooves and stuff.
Cool.
So that's what my 5 are. That's my last 5.
What's it called?
It's called Once Upon This Island.
Once
I think
Upon
it recently just won a Tony for Best Musical on Broadway. I think. Don't quote me on that.
Nice.
Awesome.
Cool. Let us start with Becca.
Okay.
Becca, what are your last 5 here?
All right. So just to disclaimer,
There's always a disclaimer.
Spotify isn't like a true representation because like I listen to a lot of stuff on Nugs. Like it's a subscription, a monthly subscription, and you get a lot of like Humphreys and String Cheese and Disco Biscuits and
What are
Lotus.
these downloads or?
So it's an app, and it's I don't.
It's like
think
a streaming app.
It's just streaming, so you don't. It's basically like Spotify, but it's just all like live sets of a lot of those bands. So I listen to those. Plus, I have stuff on my phone, and Spotify is like everything else. So that's my disclaimer.
Fair. That's
So
fair.
okay, so okay. Well, the first one is actually a Celine Dion song, and I will admit that. And I don't care.
No, she's my guilty pleasure. I love Celine
Whoops.
Dion.
Shit.
Breaking shit, bro. Come on.
I'm sorry. She has just an amazing voice. So I listen to her a lot, and I'll just like when I'm home alone, which was yesterday, and that's why. When I'm home alone, I will blast that shit, and I will sing as loud as I possibly can to some Celine Dion.
Which album was it?
This
Or
was
just
The Power of
singles?
Love. So it's
My
like
mom played that all the time.
Oh yes,
That was her cleaning album.
Yep. My mom actually, when I was really young, I would sing and like belt out some like just really hilarious like 90s female power vocals like Tina Turner and like Celine Dion and stuff. So yeah, so that's there. That's there for sure. Earth, Wind, and Fire is under there because we were at practice the other day listening to some potential covers because we like to throw in fun covers. So we have an Earth, Wind, and Fire. Aquamarine, which is a new Lotus song. They released a new album, which has been a while since they have.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
they did all the video over in Philly at the Philly Soundworks.
Yes.
Or, Rittenhouse.
Rittenhouse.
Soundworks. Excuse
Yep.
me. Yeah, a friend of ours does a lot of the sound there.
Nice.
And he was telling us about
Well,
it.
the album is great,
Album's
and the
awesome.
videos are great. Yeah, the album's really fun. I'm really pleased with it. So that's on there.
Hold on, so let's keep it honest then. Let's go to Nugs. Let's go
Okay.
to Nugs and look at the last 2 concerts or live sets that you were listening to.
Okay.
So that's 3. And what are the 2 sets?
Yeah. And the last one there is Spangle.
Is what?
Spangle. Have you ever heard of Spangle?
No.
So Spangle is Simon Posford, who's a UK-based producer he's just amazing at electronic production, just like side trance, basically. It's just really, really impressive production and very world. So he's very like worldly. He pulls from like Middle Eastern and just like every type of musical influence around the world that can be cultivated into a song. He just is a really good producer. And Spangle actually is doing their last live band thing. So he's a producer and he's got so many layers, very intricate sounds. But they actually do a live band experience too. You know Joe Russo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was with them at one point doing the drumming for the Spangle Live. And it's a whole production. Like they've got costumes and people on stilts going on the stage, black light things. He's mixing over 50 channels. He plays guitar as well, and he's got these 2 singers that are just like the best female vocals that I just love them. So that's Spangle in a nutshell. But they're doing the last live performance at Red Rocks in May that we're going to.
to it?
Yeah.
That's
Oh
cool.
yes.
All right.
So-
Give me the last two nugs.
So does it tell you on Nugs?
It
It
doesn't.
does. It says my recent searches,
Recent searches.
which literally is the Disco Biscuits, Lotus, string cheese.
Nice.
And that's it.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. What you got, bro? What you got?
So, the Spotify account is going to be the same. We use the same.
Oh yeah,
Spotify
we share
account.
Spotify because I'm cheap.
But I've got some. Share. She's using my Spotify account.
It's okay.
You were listening to Celine Dion. That's not me.
Hey man,
It's
I can
embarrassing.
get down with some of this Celine. But
Should have
so
threw him under the bus way earlier, and yeah, okay. That would have been way better. Go ahead.
Is there anything on there that is
so
not me?
Nugs for me is Disco Biscuits, Lotus, Magic
Which
Beans.
hold on. So for Disco Biscuits, like, what are we listening to? An album, a song? Or?
Yeah, live set for the most part. So I'm sitting at a computer all day, so I kind of just
That's true. You just put it
play
on.
it and it goes. So
Do they have the albums on Nugs?
I have no
I
idea.
think Nugs is all because I only go there for like live shows. Like when
listen
the
to
bands
live
like they'll put out their live show, the
Yeah,
soundboard
speaking of Nugs, do you guys upload your live shows onto there?
onto Nugs. No,
No, not Nugs.
No,
I
not
think
really.
How come?
I think it's. I honestly don't know if it's like a free for all.
Yeah, I
I think
don't-
it's kind of like a you have to be
Exclusive?
invited. Yeah.
yeah, I don't.
And it's also I'm sure pretty pricey to have your stuff on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right. So you said Disco Biscuits. Who did you?
So-
else did you say Lotus?
Yep, Lotus.
Magic
The
Beans.
Magic Beans.
Who?
Get rid of them.
A band out from Colorado.
Okay.
They're kind of Lotus meets string cheese meets.
I don't know. They're jammy.
They're jammy. I don't know. Lots of organ, lots of funk, lots of.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
a nice blend of funk, but a little bit like he's got
Yeah.
some synth action
Little
going
bit of-
on. They've got some good like vocal hooks, within, but they do a lot of
vocals are great.
improv. They're from Denver,
Yeah.
so yeah, they're cool.
So, yeah,
they're
spend-
opening for
spend some
Lotus
time
actually
on
at Red
there.
Rocks, aren't they? They just announced that
Oh,
they're
yeah, I think
opening
so.
for Lotus
Right.
and Red Rocks.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that is awesome.
it's good for them.
Let's see what else. So not on Nugs. I checked out the new Sun Squabby album.
I don't know
Sun
what that
Squabby.
is.
They just put a new album out like 3-4 days ago.
Okay.
So I
What's
gave
that
a
called?
listen today. It's called Moth
Instinct, right? Instinct, yeah.
But all the song names are moth related.
Oh, really?
I realized
That's
today.
cool.
Yeah.
They're really cool. They're
cool.
They're a 3-piece, right? So
Yep, they're a 3-piece.
I know they've got a lot of like pre-produced like layers and synths that they play,
Yep.
and then I know the bassist plays bass, and he also has a Moog sub 37 that he'll switch between. So they're like a cool blend of electronic and live instrumental. Yeah, they're cool. They're from Colorado.
Give me two more.
2 more. So I was listening to some Oysterhead today. You know Oysterhead?
Oh Lord,
He turned around.
Hell
Mark
yeah.
you like
Right on,
Oysterhead?
man.
We talked about Oysterhead with Brendan. It was
we?
Trey and Stuart,
Oh, yeah.
Stuart
Stuart
Copeland and
Copeland?
Les Claypool, man.
Yeah.
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 Nah, dude.
Yeah. And what was the last one?
The New Deal. You know the New Deal?
Oh yeah.
Jamie Shields. I was listening to some New Deal today. They're kind of just like dance music.
They're,
I guess it's
but his
it's different. It's not just like
his
dance
synth
music.
work
It's-
is just like crazy.
Yeah.
Like watching them play live is. I think they're also a 3-piece,
They're a
right?
3-piece,
Drums,
yeah.
bass, who also kind of switches between like sub bass,
Yeah.
synths, and bass guitar.
Right
but
on.
And you got the
he's
key
just
player
the
doing
key player is just amazing.
textures and melodies. And
He's very much
everything.
like you, with very busy.
he's got all the hands
lots of-
going.
yeah.
Very cool. All right, we're moving on to everyone's favorite segment called the Top 40. Whether you love it, you hate it, it's still here. So we're going to talk about it. I, however, have found a song that I love that's on the Top 40. It
Oh, yeah?
came out the other day, and I found it today. I listened to it 7 or 8 times. Y'all know Hosier? Or Hosier?
Yeah, I don't know anything, but I've heard it.
The new song is called Almost, and then in parentheses it's called Sweet Music. It is genuinely funky, and I can't get enough of it. And it sounds like there's like tap dancing on the verses as like the drums.
Interesting.
Oh.
Bizarre. Hosier. Yeah.
I'll have to check
Do you know
him
him?
out. No.
Take me to church. Oh, you probably have no idea. Popular music. Got it.
Mountaintop.
Mountaintop. Yes. But you live in Philly. Well, outside of Philly now. You hear some music.
He just
Yeah,
Under a rock.
So you live under a rock. You do not care about popular music. You listen to what you listen to, and that's pretty much it.
You kind of nailed it.
On the way here, we were talking about how I was like, they're gonna bring up the top 40,
Right?
And he's like, yeah, I looked at it today. Like, I don't know anyone on there. Like, one of the number ones was Ariana Grande. Like, I don't know anyone on there. I had to say that because I was like, why did you say that now? I wish you said that in the podcast.
Yeah, I'll own that one.
But he just like grew up under a rock. But honestly, you know what? I'll admit, I only knew like half of the names, if that. And like I like a lot of music. I can appreciate a lot of different types of music. But yeah, I'm not up to. I have never heard Post Malone until I had. I looked it up today to see and prepare a little bit, and yeah, because I keep hearing his name, and I do like Ariana Grande. She's got a good voice. She's got a really good voice. That's a fact. Number one though, Panic at the Disco. They're still a thing.
I talked about it last podcast. Yeah, I like that new song.
High
Hopes.
I didn't even know that they were still around. And Ellie Goulding. Do you remember Ellie Goulding?
Yeah, I do.
She was like a UK based.
She was like in the dubstep.
She was
thing,
a little
right?
bit in the dub, not the dub, but like electronic type of scene type thing, real quick for a hot second.
More like the W. That's my dad joke of the day. You're welcome.
But yeah, I saw that she's still around. She did a song with like Diplo or someone on there, and I was like, oh, okay.
I don't know. I stay away from that kind of music just because I don't like it. That's fair. And that's what we like talking about. So you have genuinely no idea what's popular in the world, and you just like what you like, which is nice. It must be really nice.
Yeah.
But do you find that you ever get stuck in like listening to the same stuff over and over again, Nick?
Yeah, I do.
How do you force yourself to listen to new music?
Spotify. Go on the radio or hit a random thing, or you'll tell me something, or I'll look up, a band that I know people talking about. I kind of did that. I discovered Earth, Wind, and Fire not too long ago. Discovered isn't all right. Discovered isn't is not the right word. I guess. Like,
don't backtrack. You discovered.
Rob just peed his pants.
No, I had the fifth brain
I knew
aneurysm.
them, but I dug in. I told
That's what
I should say.
Rock.
That's what I should say.
Have you?
I dug in.
Hold on. So we're gonna get to you. We have to talk about this. This is an intervention. Dude. Okay. Go. Okay. Here's your homework. You have enough with work. I understand. But go to Netflix. I believe there is an Earth, Wind, and Fire concert.
Oh, yeah?
Or YouTube. YouTube has them too.
Okay.
They are amazing.
Oh, dude.
They put on a killer show.
I've been fucking up real bad.
At least you know.
They're awesome.
Now we can move on.
Now we can move on.
Okay. I discovered Earth, Wind, and Fire. Fuck you.
I'll take that.
Well, you know what? Okay. Well, that's what this podcast is all about, people. You want to listen in. Speaking of which, now this is a good time to mention it. Every song or album we mention in this podcast will be a part of the Spotify playlist, which will be labeled as DCTO 006 featuring Solar Circuit. It'll be attached to Hambone Relay's playlists. So if you want to look that up, all the singles will be on a playlist. You can just hit play and listen to all the music that we've been talking about.
Will Celine Dion be on that playlist?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you, Mark.
Perfect. Good.
It's been on at least 3 out of the 6.
Really?
Because Rob loves
Really?
Celine Dion.
Are you serious?
You keep mentioning it.
You bring it up every time on purpose, right?
Well, no, because there's a part of this next round that we talk about a certain thing. Celine Dion comes up because I'm like, well, this is my thing. Which we're here at the lightning round, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about the lightning round. Have you guys listened to the show before?
I didn't get all the way to the lightning round.
Okay, so the lightning round is I ask you a certain thing, like a first or a most favorite, etc.
Okay.
And you have to, as fast as possible, give it to me.
Okay.
Because we don't have a lot of time.
Okay.
We'll start with Nick because we did Becca first before. You ready?
I'm ready.
First album you ever owned?
Offspring. What was the Offspring? What the?
I'm not 100% sure. Here we have the magical internet.
The one with low self-esteem. That one.
That it's on that. What was it? Was blue. I think
Does it have like a cartoon picture of a guy in a swing or a kid on a...
Yeah, it might.
Does it have a Pretty Fly for a White Guy on that
It
album?
very well might.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pick that up at a garage sale, dude. I don't know how I remember that.
It's my jam.
Yeah, right?
Back in the day, that's like my 8th... No, what was that? I was in... God, I'm old. I was like a junior in high school.
Americana?
Americana,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
it.
That's it, bro.
Yep.
It's got a kid on a swing set with a.
Yep.
Hey, Rob, we're listening to that in the next tour, dude.
You're welcome.
I go ahead.
First show you ever saw, Nick.
First show, America. And
How weird that's connected. Okay.
Yeah, right? That
I
is
love
weird.
America.
Yeah, man. I saw America at what's that venue in Jim Thorpe?
Peak.
Penn's
something.
Peak.
Awesome. Last show that you saw that you weren't a part of.
Last show that I saw, Disco Biscuits.
New Year's.
New Year's Eve.
You were on the run.
Yep.
Which day?
The last two, so 30th,
Okay,
31st.
my friends were there at the 30th.
Yeah.
Oh, Brendan was there at the 30th. That's what he was saying. Favorite song to play?
Favorite song to play? I like playing Porpoise. One of
That's
our
your
songs.
song?
Because you wrote the
'Cause
line.
Go figure.
Least favorite song to play?
Least favorite song to play. One of the new ones that we're working on right now, but I can't figure out the damn melody.
What strange algorithms?
Yeah.
We can't tag that one. That one's not out yet.
Yep.
Favorite local artist that hasn't been heard of that you believe should be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Speaking
Hambone
of the
Relay.
mic. Ah.
Little
Here's
butt
a 20.
kissing. But true.
Who else though?
Well, there's a bunch. If you take like Tweed, have they been heard of? I think they're
Some people
solid.
probably haven't. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
mean,
really enjoy.
They're still on the
they're
up,
still
so I
pretty-
think that counts.
Yeah.
Favorite album of all time?
Wish You Were Here, for sure.
Incense or no incense?
Oh, Incense.
Okay. Favorite artist of all time?
Pink Floyd.
Okay, right on.
I'll keep with
Becca,
it.
from the top,
Okay.
first album you owned.
Abbey Road, the
That's a
Beatles.
good one.
It's a good one.
Did you have it in CD or vinyl or?
CD on my Walkman. My dad's friend gave it to me because he had a bunch of CDs he was getting rid of. So I got Abbey Road. I got Wish You Were Here. And I also simultaneously had Bewitched. And if either of you know who that group is, then I'll be surprised. But it was okay, I didn't think so. It was like I think UK like pop band that was like kind of trying to be Spice Girls at the time. And they were targeting like my exact age, which was like 9, you know.
I was a Spice Girls fan. I feel like I knew the name.
Bewitched, yeah.
Okay.
They were like a one-hit wonder for like a hot second.
All right, first show you ever saw.
The Monkees. With
That's
my
a good
dad.
one.
Yep.
That's cute. How old
Yeah,
were you?
man. I was like 5. I went to the bathroom like 8 times. My dad was so annoyed. But I still have the shirt that I got, and like it must have been huge on me when I was 5 because it like still comes down to like my knees.
Your dad was like, "You're gonna wear this when you're older."
Yep.
All right, last show you saw that you weren't a part of.
The Biscuits. New Year's.
Favorite song to play or sing?
That's tough. Maybe Abidus, one of our songs off of the EP.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like the NASA Apollo mission.
I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah,
What, are you guys fascinated with space?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
definitely. Space is just so mysterious.
so
Are you not
big.
fascinated with it?
It's so big.
It's so big.
I'm good with right here.
I mean, I don't want to go there.
I'm overwhelmed
no.
now. Like I don't want to know.
I don't want to go there, but it's very intriguing.
Okay. Least favorite song to play.
That's tough.
It can be a cover tune that you're forced to sing for somebody, or
Maybe The Eye, which only because it's
That's
just
yours?
a lot. Yes, a song by us. And not that I don't like the song at all, because I like the song, but I just like there's a lot of me vocals. And I like singing, but I like playing more.
that's not often heard.
Yeah.
One of the singers like, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Favorite local artist that hasn't been heard of.
Tweed.
Well, give me a new one.
Trap Rabbit. They're really
Okay.
good. I know. I saw they were here. Yeah. They're great. Yeah. That's That's good enough, right?
Yeah.
That's one.
Guilty pleasure, artist, or album. I'll have to do that one for you. I missed one.
Well, I mean, Celine, I don't even consider like a guilty pleasure because I don't feel ashamed. She's got an amazing voice. So if I'm talking about real ashamed, I have a secret playlist on Spotify that like he doesn't even know about, and it's just everything that like I'm ashamed to love, like some Selena Gomez songs are on there, and like a couple Ariana Grande songs are on
Who is
there.
this Selena Gomez?
Selena, what?
Like just songs that like,
I know that one.
you know. Yeah, just songs that are like, you know, this song exists and I can't deny that it's tapping my foot right now. So
You gotta take it for sure. Favorite album of all time?
you stole mine. You know, wish You Were Here or Animals.
Animals
Pink
out
Floyd.
there. Solid second.
Yeah.
Our favorite artist of all time.
Like classic, I guess I would have to go with Pink Floyd, but yeah, I guess if I had to just pick one, it would be Pink Floyd, which sucks.
Kind of
stole my answer.
started everything.
That's like when we were becoming friends, we were like bonding on Pink Floyd. That's why we got the same answer
everything.
there. But they are the OGs.
Here, we'll come back. Nick, guilty pleasure artist or album?
So we were in the car the other day, and you put on a Miley Cyrus song.
He
and
loved
I was
it.
getting down.
He loved it.
It was
Was
good.
it Rock Party in the USA?
No,
No,
it's
it was
a new
one that
one.
I hadn't heard of before.
Oh, is it
but-
the one with Mark Ronson?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mentioned that in the podcast the other
Yeah,
day.
dude, she
That one's
built
awesome.
it.
It's actually really good.
It's a very good song.
Yeah.
Awesome. Where can people find you on the internet?
So all of the live album, the soundboards that we put out that we talked about, those are on Bandcamp and SoundCloud, and they're free for download, and they're, you know, multi-track soundboard recordings.
Take them.
Take 'em.
Take them, please.
All right. What's your website?
SolarCircuitMusic.com.
Awesome. And you got the Facebooks, the Instagrams.
Yep.
Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, Bandcamp.
Bandclip?
Bandclamp.
It's a new version
Oh, I heard
of Bandcamp.
Bandclip.
Oh boy. No, that's even worse.
That's whoa.
It wasn't bad.
Oh Lord.
Okay. That's the end of this podcast. No more episodes. We're done here.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. I did it. The FDA is coming after us. I don't even know why the FDA is coming
The
after
Food
us.
and Drug Administration
Yeah,
is
it was
coming
like-
after us.
that was so foul. We have to come.
We're gonna step in now.
Wow.
FEMA's knocking on the door. That was just foul. Okay. Where's your next show that people can see you?
Philly on February 16th. We'll be back at the Music Ward, which is a cool spot. We'll be back with Flux Capacitor and ELM.
Beautiful, man.
So it's a nice stacked bill. It'll be a lot of fun.
Well, thank you guys for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you for having us.
We're happy to be
It was a great
hang
time.
out. And what time is it? It is midnight, so it's time to end this mother. See you guys next time. Thank you again, Solar Circuit, for being here, and peace. Thank you so much for listening to Dude, Check This Out. Once again, if you want to learn more about Hambone Relay, please go to our website, hambonerelay.com, or go to iTunes to check out our records, or Spotify, which is where these playlists will be located for these episodes. And don't listen to the haters, man. There's plenty of good music out there. You just have to keep looking. See y'all later.